Hey guys, what's up? I wanted to do a quick trigger warning for this video. I do talk about some pretty tough stuff, depression, anxiety, self-harm, suicide, eating disorders, sexual assault, like basically everything. It's like a really raw personal video, but if you are triggered by those things, I recommend not watching it because I do speak on those topics. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy this. Hope it's helpful. Hey guys, what's up? It is Saturday. I don't know the date. It is I think it's the 42nd day I've been in quarantine, and it's getting to me. Today's video I'm gonna do about depression. This is something I've struggled with for a very long time, and it's acting up because of quarantine, and I feel like a lot of other people are dealing with it. So I'm just gonna kind of share my story, a little bit about it, and my coping skills, medication, stuff like that. So I first started to get depressed around age 12 or 13. And I did not know what it was. I knew I was feeling sad and empty, and I would feel numb, and I just I had no idea why I felt like that, and it was really scary. And I kept it to myself because I thought there was something wrong with me. So I kept it to myself for probably about a year before I told my parents. And I went to see my first counselor, and that ended up being terrible because I went there and I explained to her how I was feeling, and I'm numb, I'm empty, I'm sad, I don't know what to do, I don't want to do anything, I just feel empty. And then this lady was like, well, have you had any significant deaths in your life? And I was like, no. And then she was like, did something happen? And I was like, no. And she was like, then you're not depressed. And I was like, cool. And it made me feel like it reinforced the feeling that there was something wrong with me, and that it was not normal, and it was something that I should keep to myself, which was terrible. And then probably another year went by before I saw a psychiatrist for the first time. I got the official Major Depressive Disorder diagnosis, along with my anxiety diagnosis and all that other stuff. But that first psychiatrist, literally all we did was meds. I've tried so many different meds, 22 different psychiatric medications. I've tried all the supplements, everything. And with that psychiatrist, it was just medication after medication. We'd start one at the lowest dose, increase to the highest dose. When it didn't work, we'd switch to the next one. And I just went through so many medications so fast. And none of them were really helping. It was I got an okay therapist that I liked, and she helped a little bit. It did help to talk to someone. I cannot highly enough recommend therapy. The therapist I have now is so amazing. I love her so much. It's crazy. And it's just crazy how much it actually helps talking to someone that they're literally just there to listen to you and your problems, and they're trained to give you advice and help you work through things and do coping skills and stuff. So my first kind of okay therapist, it was good. I saw her for a couple of years, and we would just do talk therapy, work on some coping skills, stuff like that. My depression got a lot worse, I would say, when I was 14. It was my first year in high school. I was just in a bad place. I was in a bad relationship, bad friendships. I had a friend commit suicide, and I was very close to following suit. I made an attempt. It was a little bit later on, but that really wrecked me. It was crazy to me, and it was something that I can't even put into words, that I was that could have been me. And in my mind was like, that should have been me. That should have been me. Like, I should have done that. Like, and my depression, it's like a twisted up thing. I was like beating myself up because I thought that he was brave enough to do something that I wasn't. And that was why. And now I know that, I mean, it's not an act of bravery to commit suicide. Not saying anything bad against my friend. He was in a lot of pain and he just wanted to escape the pain. He wanted a way to escape the pain, and I know how that feels. And I know what it's like when you're gonna do it. But so my brain was all twisted up in ways, and it just like, it started going downhill real quick. I had been self-harming for a while. I just did not want to live. Like, straight up, just sad, empty, numb, self-harming because I felt nothing. I felt nothing at all, and I would stare at a wall in my room and not get out of my bed for like 8 hours at a time. And I used to cut, so I would cut just to feel something, just for like even a little bit of time. Or I would do it because I had really low self-esteem and I was like so mean to myself, and I would do it because I thought I deserved it. Or anytime the like boyfriend that I had was mean to me or whatever. And so I just like, it was a negative coping skill, which I learned that in a mental hospital, that you can have negative coping skills. Like, that can be a coping skill for sure, but it's not positive. It's detrimental to your health, stuff like that. And probably a little bit over a year after my friend committed suicide, I went to a mental hospital for the first time. It was November of 2016. Yeah. And I did a little video about what it's like to be in there, stuff like that. But they really put things in perspective for me. It's weird because you're in like a time where you're not going to school, you're not seeing anyone really except for like your family and the people in treatment. So it's like this time for like healing and reflecting and stuff. And I learned so much. Like, I learned like that these relationships that I had were abusive and they weren't right. And it like blew my mind. I had no idea that I was being treated so poorly because I was treating myself so poorly. And learning about positive coping skills and stuff, and ways to process and stuff like that. It just really, really helped me. I was in PHP for 10 days and then IOP for 3 months, and it really did help me for a while. I was doing okay for a little bit, and then my eating disorder got bad again. I went to a new school. Oh, I was bullied a lot. That's a big thing that really impacted my depression. I felt like I couldn't tell anyone because I felt like there was something wrong with me because it's so taboo and like no one talks about it in school or anything. So I felt like I had to keep it to myself because it was something wrong with me. And I got bullied a lot, and I ended up dropping out of school and doing a couple months online. And then, so I started up at a new school, new relationship, all that stuff. And I just was in such a bad place that I went to inpatient, and then inpatient did not go well. It was just like this crazy time. It was a really scary place for me. It wasn't a good environment for me. I had someone threaten me, and so my parents pulled me out of that situation and just put me back like in my regular therapy and stuff. That went okay. And then my eating disorder started to get bad, like a lot worse. And eating disorders and depression really feed into each other because you're like feeling so like sad and numb and empty, and you feel like you have nothing, and your eating disorder wants control, and so you do it to have some sort of control in your life and like to feel something. And it like you're so mean to yourself and you're hating on yourself, and your eating disorder is like bullying you, and your depression is bullying you, and it just like feeds into each other, and you go downhill fast. And I ended up letting a lot of things happen that I shouldn't have. It was just being treated the way I should not have been treated, getting bullied. I've had like issues with like sexual assault and sexual abuse and stuff, and like I was just so mean to myself that I didn't see anything wrong with anything that anyone was doing. Like the only thing I saw was me and how much I hated myself, and just like this, it was just a dark time. And then I ended up getting out of that relationship. I wanted to go back into mental hospital in the summer of 2018 because I was not in a good place. And it was just, I was just in a toxic relationship with this person that I was breaking it off with. And it was so toxic because it was like, he was like not stable either. And so I felt responsible for him, and it was this whole thing. And I was just in such a bad place. I was like, put me back in a place. And my parents were like, if you do this, you can't go to California and see your friends. You can't go on the vacation that we had planned, and you can't go see the colleges. And they were like, do you think you can hold out and go see your friends and your family in California and like see if that helps? And it really did help. It helped a lot. I got in a new relationship with someone much, much better. Super awesome. Like, he made me feel great about myself, and that was like a weird thing. That was a weird thing for me. And then I got put in ERC, which is the Eating Recovery Center. And then I got my new therapist, and I freaking love her. She's awesome. I still talk to her every week. She's back in Texas still, so we do phone calls, but she literally has helped me so much, like through processing through so many things that I didn't even know were like bad, because I was so caught up in like my eating disorder, my self-hatred, and like all that stuff. And I was like, when we would talk through things, she'd be like, that's really terrible. I'm so sorry you went through that. And I was just like, oh, it was just a thing. Like, it just happened. And it wasn't just a thing. And it was really affecting me, but I had no idea because I was so caught up in my eating disorder, so caught up in my depression. And like, all I could think about was like, you're terrible, you're ugly, you're fat, I hate you. Like, you're just this worst, terrible person. Like, no one should love you. You don't deserve love. Like, just all these things going on. And like, I was so focused on that, I was not like even comprehending that I was being treated poorly. I was like bullied a lot in school, and I literally like didn't even spend that much time on it. Like, I was called seizure girl because I kept having I have episodes of syncope with seizure behavior in my eyes, and so people would make fun of me and call me seizure girl. And I was just kind of like, okay, whatever, like, okay. And I didn't realize that actually really bothered me until I started going through it with my new therapist, going through all these things that happened while I was caught up in my eating disorder and my depression. And I was it was just like, oh shit, like, that actually really hurt me. That really was a kind of traumatic experience, and like, I didn't even process that. So we kind of like went through the past year of my life, and just like went through all these things that happened, and like I realized how much they bothered me, and we'd like talk about it, talk through them, process the emotions that I didn't allow myself to feel at the time, and then we'd like progress. And I've been with her for over a year, I think. Yeah, I've been with her for over a year. She's helped me immensely. Going to the Eating Recovery Center has helped me immensely. Just like moving, I moved from Texas, and it has actually really helped a lot to be in a new environment. Going to college really helped. I ended up breaking up with that boyfriend, that did put me back in a rough spot. But like, it wasn't like he didn't do anything wrong. I mean, like, okay, well, it's like a whole thing. It wasn't abusive and bad like my previous relationships were, and I don't hold anything against him, and it's nothing like that. Yeah, so we ended up breaking up, and that was hard for me. But it wasn't like a crazy traumatic experience. It was like a normal breakup kind of. which I've never had. So it's like weird, and I'm like still processing through it. But it wasn't like this big traumatic thing that was weighing on me and just like feeding my depression. I mean, it does feed my depression, but it wasn't this big, huge, terrible, traumatic, abusive thing. It was just a normal breakup, which is weird for me. But it was just, it's done. I'm depressed about it. I'm working through it, processing with my therapist. Like everything is, I'm going okay. Quarantine is hard. We're going okay though. So things like that really helped me. And like people make a big difference. The people that you choose and the people that you surround yourself with, your support network, they really do make a huge difference. I was with a terrible person in the beginning, and I was in such a bad place, and I was in a bad relationship with bad friendships in a bad school. Everything was just weighing on me, and that was the time that I attempted suicide. I was in such a bad place, such a bad environment. And then the next school was a little bit better of an environment. I was doing like okay, still bad relationships, bad place, go back to a mental hospital. And then my senior year, I didn't go to school because I was in ERC, and I had these amazing friendships with these amazing people from ERC that I still speak to today. I love them dearly. And I was in a good like relationship. I like had worked on a good relationship with my parents. Like, I mean, my parents and I were like working through stuff, but we were going to like family therapy, and like I had a good relationship with like my sister and like my friends back in California, and I was supported, and that made a huge difference. I have not been back to a mental hospital. I have not attempted. I have not wanted to attempt. I have not self-harmed in over 3 years. I have not purged in over a year. And it's crazy because it's this level of support that really made such a big difference, and like the environment changes and stuff. It's just crazy like how much I think my life has changed. And like I'm still depressed. I still struggle feeling empty and sad and numb and not wanting to get out of bed and not finding things fun anymore. Like I still do struggle with that. Especially now during this quarantine, I'm struggling with just not being able to like talk to people and see people and go do things. Being stuck in my house definitely does impact my depression. But it's like, it's this thing and it's this weight, and I have it, and I'm probably going to have it for the rest of my life. It's treatment resistant. Like I said, I tried literally so many medications. I'm trying ketamine soon, so fingers crossed that works, because I don't have a whole lot of other options. I just like go through therapy, and I go through, there's good patches and bad patches, and it's just kind of like something that I'm going to have to deal with for the rest of my life, most likely. Yeah. I just kind of wanted to like share this, so like if anyone's going through it, you're not alone. I felt so alone for so long. There is nothing wrong with you. It's a chemical imbalance. It might be situational, seasonal, anything like that. There are a bunch of different types of depression, and none of them are less valid than another. Like seasonal affect disorder, or like the seasonal depression is just as valid as having major depressive disorder. Some may be more extreme than others, but no one type is more valid than another, if that makes sense. So if you're going through depression, if you feel sad and empty and numb, my biggest suggestion is reach out to someone. It took me over a year to talk to someone, and in that time I was not in a good place. I was self-harming. I was suicidal. It was not good. And once I got my support network that I have now, I'm doing so much better. So my biggest suggestion is reach out to someone, a friend, a family member, a teacher, a counselor, a neighbor, a therapist, if you can afford it. Or I know they do those like online therapy now, I think. I don't know. But reaching out to someone and letting them know how you're feeling and just understanding that it's not something wrong with you. It's normal. Like, a lot of people have depression and it sucks. It sucks so bad, and I know it does. But you are not alone. You're not alone. You're not alone. There's nothing wrong with you. Yeah, it's not your fault. There's nothing wrong with you. You're important. You're here for a reason. If you need me, you can comment, go to my Instagram, or I think I have my email on my Instagram. I will do my very best to be there for you if you need me, because I know what it feels like. I've been there. I've been in a lot of situations, and my whole like goal in life right now is to take all this pain and all this stuff that I've been through, and I want to help others with that. So if you need me, reach out and I will do my very best. I think that's about it for today. Sorry, this was kind of like a bummer. This video was like low-key sad. But I just feel like it was important to talk about, especially right now during quarantine. So if you need me, contact me. I will do my best. I hope you guys are all staying home and staying safe to the best of your ability. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.